let's talk about love in the Middle Ages. So I've written a series of books that take place in the 13th century, and it's about three young people. And this is the first one, this is the second one, and the third one is coming out in another few months. And that one deals a lot with relationships because, young people grow up. So I thought it would be fun to talk about love, specifically love in the non-noble classes. I think that when people think about love and relationships in the Middle Ages, they have this idea that you're marrying 10-year-old girls to 50-year-old men, and that all the marriages are arranged, and that nobody loves the person they're getting married to, and that you're marrying your cousin. Well, none of this is true. So in the non-noble classes, first of all, in any class in the Middle Ages, you could not marry your cousin or even someone who was remotely related to you. The church was very clear about this. You had to be separated by at least 7 degrees in order to marry someone. So that's thing number one. Thing number two, yes, sometimes young girls got married to older men in the noble classes. Sometimes young men got married to older women. Sometimes children were betrothed to each other when they were 8 years old, but they wouldn't necessarily get married until they were quite a bit older. In the non-noble classes, you probably were not going to be marrying your 10-year-old girl to anyone. In the noble classes, the non-noble classes, your daughter was probably helping out around the shop, working with the family, has a lot more freedom to marry who she wants to. And so it's very likely that she might have actually married someone for love or economic reasons. Girls gotta be smart about this. So it was difficult to meet someone. In order to marry someone, you had to meet them. It was difficult to meet someone in the Middle Ages because if you weren't of the noble class, you were staying put. I mean, people traveled, but as far as getting out of your village to go meet someone else didn't really happen so much. You might meet a boy in church, but if you lived in a small village, chances are you knew the boy that you were going to marry from a really young age. So they generally did not marry people from other villages, and if they wanted to, they actually had to get permission from their lord and sometimes pay a fine to marry someone from another village, and that's called a merchet. And the reason for that is because when a woman went to another village to marry a man in another village, that meant that that village was gaining a new worker, and the lord was losing his worker. So he wanted to be compensated for that.